Welcome to the Ambient iPad. This video is all about ambient bass and using a bunch of different effects that you can use to create some interesting ambient soundscapes. From basic effects like chorus, delay, and reverb, all the way through to things like SpaceFields, which lets you create a very expansive ambient landscape using any sound source. Now, I want to point out that this video is not a review of any apps or any specific types of effects. I'm using the iPad and a bunch of different apps I have. I could very easily just use any guitar effects pedals that I have, but this is just easiest, and I'm using apps that I have. The point is, use whatever you have. You can use GarageBand even if you have nothing else. And I might do a video in the future that kind of demonstrates how to use GarageBand just by itself and the bass to create some ambient music. The signal chain is a Fender American original 60s precision bass. It's going directly into a Universal Audio Volt 276 interface, which communicates back and forth with an iPad Pro through USB-C hub. I'm using an Audio-Technica mic that's going to a Focusrite Scarlett 18i8 interface, but I'm only using that as a mixer to go right into the camera. So I've got AUM set up with a bunch of different effects, and I'll walk through some of them, but I really want to get into demonstrating how to use them to create some ambient music. So I've got a line of basic effects here, then I've got another line of effects that do some strange sounds, granulizers, delays that do some interesting things, and finally, soundscape apps, for lack of a better term. I've got Velvet Machine. I also have Gauss Looper, which I probably won't use because I use that all the time. And then SpaceFields, which is really a great app. I mean, you could put anything through it. You could just tap on a microphone and it'll create very cool music. So we'll definitely use that as kind of the hub for creating a soundscape and do some things over that. But first I'd like to run through the basic effects. Again, I got chorus, delay, reverb, phaser, tremolo, flanger, but use whatever you have. I do have compression going. I'm not going to demonstrate that. I have it just to even out the bass as I'm recording, but there's so many different levels of compression that happen making a video and then posting it on YouTube that there's really no point in going too deep into that. So the first thing I'll do is let's start with some chorus. I've got FAC chorus here. Actually, let me demonstrate the direct sound. And we've got FAC phaser. And let's move on to, we've got two effects here in Mixbox. We've got a flanger. And then tremolo. And we've got tape delay, K7D by Imaginando. I'm not demonstrating all the different settings you can do. I just want to kind of demonstrate what bass sounds like. Here, this is more of an analog or digital delay. I got ping pong going on both of those delays because this is a mono instrument. And finally, if I can close that, we've got, for reverb, I'm using Black Hole. And you can get a lot bigger than this. And all you really need is, got something here called Big Reverb. Very nice. All right, let's move over to the more interesting, weird effects. I got a Blias compressor going again just to even out the sound. Bubbles, I've done some videos on Audio Thing apps. They're very cool. This is a patch I created to get a lot of variety with these apps, and I'm just demonstrating some quick sounds. But it's not on, so let's get it in there. There we go. So you can see how you can do some cool stuff with that. Again, lots of different patches in here. Then we've got granualizer from Blias. creates grains and then applies effects to those. Keep opening up that file player, which I've got drums for a different use. Of course, eventide crystals. Not in the usual fashion. This is kind of basic crystals. You know, shimmering effect. I do different stuff with this, more on the low end. It's very mellow in the background, particularly this one, this low crystals. Whoops. Just kind of bubbles up in the background. And so you can kind of start to see how some of these things sound very cool, and it kind of gets the mind working of, hey, let me use these couple of effects, like, how about eventide and bubbles, and what could we do with that? If you turn the feedback up, because there are delays for the most part, in some respects, you could really have that sound going. But you can just do this. Let's move on. And I have other desert cities. This app has so much in it. I've really never demonstrated this app, but it's like 3 or 4 apps in one. It's kind of a basic. Let me see if there's something a little wilder. Let's try this. And I have a perforator here from Brambos. I'm not really going to use this, but it's a gating effect, so. You get the idea. And then we have the more real ambient effects. So I've got Velvet Machine here. Let me move this in here. Turn it on. You get here, Cascades is a nice effect. Let's go to a different patch. Yeah, that one's Max Cloud. This is a good one. I've used this before. I can just, I'm not even playing, and it just, you could just add something else, and it's just slowly building. And if you did something with Gauss with this, and why don't I just do that? The only thing is that Gauss sometimes, let me see if this is going to work. Yes, it will work now. Sometimes it's actually turns off a different channel. I think it's just because I didn't have monitoring on. So make sure you have monitoring on if you're using something like Gauss in a complex setup like this. So I'm just going to do this. Let's have Gauss going. Let's have Velvet Machine going. Max Cloud. Let's just keep this and see what happens. So. Okay, it's looping. Let me put another node on top. So let's stop the recording of that. Let me go back to, was it Cascades? So even though I have tons of these other apps, I just want to demonstrate like using Gauss with just one of these very cool, expansive apps like Velvet Machine. So I'm not playing anything at this point. I kind of did those 3 or 4 little things. We've got a loop going. Let's hear what Cascade sounds like at the Cascade patch in Velvet Machine. There we go. Kind of goes into the swell. Why don't we just a phaser, turn that on. So you get the idea. Again, You really need one app to kind of make it really big. That could be anything from a reverb to some of the apps like this. And I mean, what do I have here? 20 apps or so? You don't need 20 apps. They go on sale a lot and they're really inexpensive. I mean, literally, for the price of each of the, for all of the apps that I have on the iPad showing in AUM right now, it still costs less than a hardware pedal that would do similar things, like a Chase Bliss Habit or a Somo Cosmos that are really kind of soundscapey like apps. Excuse me, pedals. All right, I'm going to have that play in the background. Let me just reset up a couple of things here, and I'm going to do a jam. I'm going to use SpaceFields for the jam. Actually, let me quickly just demonstrate what I do with SpaceFields here. So let's just turn Gauss off. Let's turn reverb on. We'll keep the chorus is on, phaser. That was these switch positions. So I said I was playing phaser before, but it was really chorus. So yeah, it's kind of going on there already in the background. But let me just create something now. Stop there, just so you can hear. Slows it down. This is a patch I created. You can still hear kind of some of the bass flavor in the background of the sliding notes. So let me kind of reset this and just reset everything up, and I'll do a jam. So as you could hear, other than SpaceFields, kind of getting the ambient soundscape set up using that, once that's going, you can really do anything over it. I went from using, just a couple of effects. At the end there, I turned a lot of different things on. But even just SpaceFields, again, I was using the bass. You could use anything. It can transform any sound into a great sounding soundscape. Well, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and good luck with your own music.